Jackson met his father for the first time. At the meeting place, they witnessed a crime. A man walking towards his lunch. He walks up to the girl with his huge mouth open and swallowed the girl in one gulp. Just as he turned to leave, he realized that what he had just done had been discovered. He walked toward the witnesses. As the man walks toward them, they rushed back to their cars and drove away from that area. The man seems to have memorized their license plate numbers and wasn't going to leave them alone. When the Jackson got home, she smoked the cigarettes at the same time, tried to search for clues on the internet, but found no useful clues. Suddenly, there were some noises coming from outside. She opened the door to check. Nothing was found. She closed the door, turned around, and walked a few steps. A man came in. He opened his huge mouth, slowly walking towards Jackson. Jackson grabbed a broom and stabbed it into the mouth, but the man took the broom away and threw it aside. Jackson takes the opportunity to run away from the man. The scene changes. Her father, Sam, is getting ready for bed. The girl suddenly appears in front of him. She told Sam must get out of here now. The big-mouthed monster has found her house and is going to be here soon. Jackson's sudden appearance. Sam's wife mistook Jackson for Sam's lover, but Sam only found out today that she has a daughter. While they were arguing, the wife looked through the window and saw a man coming this way. For the sake of his wife's safety, they told her to stay at home. Jackson and Sam drove out of here together. Jackson found her boyfriend, wanted him to help take out the loudmouth monster. Instead, he grabbed a glass of questionable alcohol from a woman and drank it. They get back in the car. Jackson's boyfriend threw up in the car. While Jackson was cleaning up the car, Sam saw the girl who had been devoured during the day. They got out of the car and went to the girl, and they asked the girl what happened. The little girl told them she couldn't find her parents and didn't remember anything that happened during the day. And that's when the big-mouthed monster appeared again. They take the little girl back to the car. They came to Jackson's boyfriend's house. Soon he collapsed on the floor. Jackson took him to his room to rest. After his boyfriend fell asleep, Jackson came back to the living room. Sam was already lying on the floor. Do not know what the little girl did to him. When she saw Jackson come back, the little girl ran away from the place. Jackson didn't go after her. She tried to wake Sam up. Sam seemed to have passed out just when Jackson was feeling sad. Sam finally woke up. He asked Jackson to get him a glass of water. Just as he stood up, he collapsed. He pulled off his boots and looked at them. His feet had turned into children's feet. He needed to find the girl and get the girl to change his feet back. Just as he came out of his room, the big-mouthed man appeared in front of them. He thought the big-mouthed man was looking for the little girl. The big-mouthed man smiled a little and got down on his knees. He opened his mouth and motioned for them to come in, realizing that the big-mouthed man meant no harm. Jackson believed him, crawled in through his mouth, seeing that his daughter was already inside. Sam had no choice but to follow. They entered a mysterious space. The big-mouthed man told them that the little girl was a demon and he was going to destroy them all. The big-mouthed man told them the truth, and then he teleported them out. He turned around and left. Sam's wife drove here. She was watching the navigation, totally oblivious to what was in front of her car. She got out of the car to check it out. Jackson and Sam came running. Big-mouthed man was run under the car.
The little girl is very greedy. She took candies from a stranger. The next day, she slowly turned into a chicken. She made pecking movements, and her feet turned into chicken claws. She came out of the house, and she completely turned into a chicken. Under the woman's command, everyone in the audience took off their gloves. The hands revealed only 3 fingers. Then they took off their shoes. The Grand High Witch had only 1 toe, while others had no toes. Then they took off their wigs, and their hair was very sparse. The Grand High Witch summoned all the witches. They hated children very much, and wanted to turn all the children into animals. She brought out the latest developed potion that could turn children into mice. Just drip the potion on candies and sell them to children to achieve her plan. At this moment, one witch raised a question. Why not develop a hair growth potion to solve the problem of sparse hair? The Grand High Witch was very angry and shot a death ray at her, turning her instantly into ashes. She ordered the witches to open candy shops worldwide. The witches were very excited and applauded enthusiastically. The child hid under the stage. The Grand High Witch floated in the air, very excitedly giving a speech. Suddenly, she smelled the scent of a child, sniffing at the edge of the stage. Then she lifted the entire stage. The child had already hidden in the ventilation duct. She followed the smell towards the vent, but the knocking sound interrupted her. The chubby boy ate the chocolate she gave him. He came here as agreed to get more chocolate. The queen offered him chocolate to lure him, and he walked towards the Grand High Witch. At this moment, the potion took effect, and he flew into the air like a deflated balloon. Only his clothes fell to the ground, and he turned into a chubby mouse. A big foot approached him, and he frantically ran through the crowd. A white mouse emerged, grabbing the tail of the chubby mouse and dragging it into the ventilation duct. The Grand High Witch opened the vent, dragging the boy out. The witch pressed him to the floor, and the Grand High Witch brought out the potion, dripping 3 drops into the boy's ear. The boy instantly turned into a mouse, trying to run into the vent, but the Grand High Witch held his tail. The white mouse rushed out again, biting the witch's finger. Taking advantage of the witch loosening her grip, they escaped into the ventilation duct. The witch reached out to catch them, her hand extending towards the mice. A rotating fan blocked the mice's path. At this moment, the chubby mouse jumped over, smashing a hole in the ventilation duct. They all fell down. The witch's hand reached towards the fan, getting cut by the rotating blades, and she screamed in pain. The mice escaped from the vent, being discovered by a hotel staff in the hallway. The staff picked up a broom and chased them. They fled through the hallway. At this moment, the door of a guest room opened, and they hid inside. Coincidentally, the occupant of this room was the boy's grandmother. He told his grandmother about their experiences, and based on the book's records, she attempted to concoct an antidote for them. The attempt failed, so they decided to thwart the Grand High Witch's plan. The mice sneaked into the witch's room and stole the potion. They poured the potion into a pot of soup that the Grand High Witch had ordered. They all drank the soup, and one by one, they turned into mice. A parasite creature sneaks into the nostril of a man. Awakened, the man seizes it and hurls it towards the wall. He rises to search for this creature. Suddenly, the parasite entity drills into his hand. Swiftly, he uses a rope to bind his arm, preventing the parasite's invasion. Yet the parasite remains within his arm. Shinichi takes out a utility knife, hesitating whether to cut his own hand. At this moment, the parasite senses the threat, transforming into a monstrous form. Its invasion fails, initially planning to invade the host's brain to control the host, but thwarted by Shinichi. However, this failure isn't the end. It parasitizes the man's right hand, instead forging a symbiotic relationship between them, turning them into symbiotic beings and making them friends. The parasite names itself Mickey. Mickey is not merely a simple parasite, but an entity capable of independent thought, learning, and understanding. It swiftly absorbs human knowledge and civilization. Meanwhile, other parasites successfully invade humans. They conceal themselves within human society, feeding on humans. Mickey sensed the presence of similar beings nearby. Mickey took control of Shinichi's hand, swiftly pressed the stop button. Mickey compelled Shinichi to get off the bus. It wanted to find its kind and understand them. Feeling scared, Shinichi disagreed. Under Mickey's coercion, Shinichi had no choice but to compromise. Mickey sensed the host inside the sushi shop. They entered the sushi shop, discovered a monster feasting. The monster noticed them, transformed back into a human, and shared the food with them. However, it realized Mickey was a failure. Mickey sensed the host's murderous intent. Alert! It transformed into a weapon-like form, urging Shinichi to flee quickly. The host approached them, taking on a monstrous appearance. Then, it cut off its own hand, allowing Mickey to transfer to its hand. This proposal made Mickey very hesitant. It glanced at Shinichi. After a mental struggle, it chose Shinichi. Mickey's hesitation irritated the host. The host attacked them, but Mickey blocked it. In the next moment, the host's head was severed. Its head continued to speak. In order to prevent it from returning to its body, Mickey swiftly delivered the finishing blow. The school welcomed a new teacher, Tamiya. Tamiya is also a host. As peers, they sensed each other's presence. Shinichi and Mickey's uniqueness made her feel incredibly astonished. She invited them to meet after school to ensure better survival. Tamiya established a network for communication and invited them to join. Shinichi directly refused her. Tamiya threatened them with schoolmates and gave them time to consider. The officer saw them as a threat. On their way home, he lay in ambush nearby. Mickey sensed the officer's powerful killing intent and proposed a plan to lure him into an alley. The officer learned that the sushi shop owner was killed by them and decided to eliminate them. The officer transformed into a monster, launching an attack. In the battle with the monster, Shinichi gradually approached the host. He took out a steel pipe and thrust it into the host. Mickey's plan was highly successful. The host bled excessively and fell to the ground. Shinichi felt a wave of nausea and ran away from the scene. However, Shinichi's mother was also on her way home and inadvertently discovered the officer lying on the ground. Alex awakened a monster. Still couldn't see the monster's appearance. He hastily hopped on his motorcycle and escaped. After covering some distance, realized the monster didn't pursue. Curious, He went back to check. This time he saw clearly. It's a robotic dog. The robotic dog noticed him, swiftly ran toward him. Alex escaped again, using his superb riding skills to evade the robotic dog's pursuit, then flew up through a slide. The robotic dog jumped as well. It lost balance, crashed heavily onto the ground, tumbled down from the slope. Alex skillfully stopped the motorcycle, approached the robotic dog cautiously. The robotic dog collided with a trash heap. A steel pipe pierced its body. The approach of a stranger made it uneasy. Alex comforted it, then helped remove the steel pipe, perhaps sensing Alex's goodwill. The robotic dog's eyes changed from red to blue. Alex's phone rang. He answered the phone. A.X.L. The robotic dog connected to his phone. Just like that, he gained a pet dog. Alex drags the robotic dog into a container. The robotic dog is already damaged in multiple places. He attempts to repair the broken parts. After some inspection, he removes components from the motorcycle, installs them on the robotic dog, then lets it try to stand up and walk out. The robotic dog seems fine. Alex replenishes its fuel, then helps it remove the muzzle. Alex is very excited. He hops on the motorcycle, plays with the robotic dog. They are taking a break. A pickup truck approaches. The robotic dog is very alert. Sarah calls out to Alex. The robotic dog hears the voice. It runs towards Sarah. Sarah sees the creature and becomes frightened. She quickly returns to the car, trying to escape. The robotic dog jumps onto her car. The enormous weight traps the vehicle. At this moment, Alex hears the robotic dog's cry, hastily runs over. He comforts the robotic dog and tells it Sarah is his girlfriend, then lets Sarah touch the robotic dog's nose. The robotic dog releases its guard against Sarah. The red eyes turn back to blue. Just like that, Sarah also becomes its owner. They let the robotic dog help pull the car out of the pit. They drive to a gas station. Alex inserts the fuel nozzle. He checks his pockets. The robotic dog senses his tight situation, so it sneaks into the gas station and lets Alex fill up the tank for free. It then notices an ATM nearby, hacks into the ATM, and the ATM spits out a large sum of cash. Sarah comes down from the car, very happy, takes the cash. Then they leave the gas station. They return to the abandoned base. Sarah's ex-boyfriend shows up, seeing Alex and Sarah together. He becomes furious, clenches his fists and moves to attack. The robotic dog walks over, jumps at him, bites his foot, drags him in front of Alex. Alex issues a warning to him, then instructs the robotic dog not to attack. However, this command makes him a protected target. He leaves here in a sorry state. At night, he drives back to the abandoned base, takes out a gasoline can from his car. With his friends, he finds the robotic dog. The robotic dog also notices them. Because he is a protected target, the robotic dog refrains from attacking him. He pours gasoline around it, then ignites the area using a flamethrower. A couple found a baby. The baby was very strange. He actually had a beard. The man teased him with his fingers, but the fingers were bent by him. They had always wanted a child, so they took the baby home. The man helped him shave off the beard. Next second, the beard grew back again. They took him to the hospital for a checkup, except for the beard. Everything else was normal. The doctor used a hammer to tap his knee, but he kicked the doctor away with one foot. The man ran an auto repair shop, and the child helped him. He could lift cars. In the schoolyard, he pushed a girl on the swing. The girl complained that he was not strong. He got angry and pushed hard, and the girl flew up into the sky. On the soccer field, he played as the goalkeeper. Players and spectators urged him to pass the ball. He really wanted to win, dribbled past everyone, and kicked the ball and the goalkeeper into the goal. He was very happy, wanted to high-five with others, but no one paid attention to him. He was very upset. His father warned him not to use superpowers in front of others. Otherwise, he would be seen as a monster, and no one would play with him. He forcefully closed the car door, and the car flipped over. Today is his birthday. He invited classmates, but no one came. His mother comforted him and asked him to make a wish and blow out the candles. His wish was to become an ordinary person, and he blew the cake onto their faces. 20 years later, his parents told him the truth, brought him to the spaceship. He pressed a button on the spaceship. It was a video left by his father. From the video, he learned he was the ultimate weapon. His mission was to save his father's planet. He also had the ability to fly. His mother made him a superhero suit and let him demonstrate his flying ability. He imitated birds flapping their wings and superheroes' actions, but couldn't fly. His parents asked him to try jumping directly, so He successfully crashed onto the floor. He left there very disappointed. At that moment, children saw his funny appearance. They mocked him and made a gesture towards him. He responded with a gesture, suddenly floated in the air, scaring away the children. He extended another hand, made the same gesture, instantly flew into the sky. The superhero suit was too ugly. He decided to burn the superhero suit. At this time, a spaceship approached him. An alien woman wanted to take him back to her planet and marry him. He refused, angering the alien woman. The alien woman decided to destroy the Earth, starting with his home. He hadn't realized the seriousness of the problem. She pressed the button on the spaceship. The spaceship turned into a robot. He hurriedly retrieved the superhero suit. While he was not wearing it yet, the robot walked towards him. At this moment, the father shot at the robot, attracting the robot's attention. The robot activated the vacuum cleaner, sucked him in. The superhero flew to the front of the robot, but was slapped down, then stepped on and flattened. The robot picked him up, rotated a few times, and threw him away, thrown into the soccer field. He ran towards the goal, took down the goal net. He planned to trap the robot, threw the net at the robot, but caught his mother instead. The robot activated the vacuum cleaner again, sucked in his mother too. He lifted the robot's arm and dismantled the robot's arm. A little boy is chosen by the wizard, inheriting the wizard's mysterious power. Under the wizard's guidance, he grasps the staff and utters the mysterious word Shazam. After a flash of light, he transforms into an adult and wears a superhero suit. After the inheritance ceremony, the wizard turns into ashes. He starts flaunting his superpowers. With just a gentle point, he can release lightning. He and Freddy are very surprised, excitedly playing with the lightning. At this moment, a woman's cry is heard nearby. Driven by a sense of justice, he freezes at an incredibly fast speed and moves next to the woman, knocking the man down. After saving the woman, to repay them, she gives them some money. With the money in hand, they go shopping at a store to showcase his superpowers. God sends two robbers to the store with an opportunity to perform. He confidently approaches the robbers. The robbers shoot at him, but he remains unharmed. Everyone is very surprised. He actually has bulletproof abilities. Freddy takes out his phone to record and encourages the robbers to continue shooting. The robbers shoot frantically, but they cannot harm him and are eventually thrown out. The assistant just tapped the door, and she turned into ashes. Savannah is not surprised at all to re-enter the mysterious palace. He has spent decades. Once, he was chosen by the wizard, but he did not pass the test. He was tempted by the creatures of half-gods. Dark forces attracted him, returning to the palace. The wizard is very old now. He no longer has enough power to guard the seal of the creatures. With the help of the creatures, Savannah picks up the eye of the devil. All the creatures gather together, flying into the eyes of Savannah. Savannah gains evil power. The wizard can no longer stop him. Being knocked down by him, he enters the meeting room, seeking revenge on his father and brother. His father is indifferent and uncaring, while his brother has always bullied him. He approaches his brother, throws him out of the window, then takes off his glasses. A black smoke emanates from him. All the creatures of half-gods are released. The people in the meeting room become their snacks. Finally, only his father is left. He offers his father as a sacrifice to the creatures. They start testing various superpowers and record videos to share on social platforms. He punches through a stone pillar, shoots the hoverboard with lightning, gently flicks a gasoline drum away, and can even charge someone else's phone. The video gains enormous traffic. He becomes an internet celebrity. They perform in the square. Billy casually releases lightning, but accidentally hits the bus tire. The bus loses control and crashes into the guardrail, falling off the bridge. Fortunately, Billy perfectly catches the bus, saving everyone on board. He becomes a hero, interviewed by reporters. At this moment, Savannah sees the news report. He wants to take away Billy's superpowers. He catches Billy, flying into the sky with him, and then knocks him down. Billy rapidly falls towards the ground. Just before hitting the ground, he activates the flying ability, floating above the ground. He is very excited. The next moment, he is knocked away. He flies up again. Savannah quickly crashes into him, creating a large hole in the floor. He falls into the fitting room. Man runs a red light. A car speeds towards him, hits him and sends him flying. The woman nervously gets out to check. The man lies on the ground, unmoving. She is very scared. Suddenly, the man sits up, his feet twisted in a peculiar shape. The woman goes back to her car to grab her phone. When she turns back, the man is nowhere to be seen. He limps away, reaches a place with no one around. His ears turn into a door. Inside, there are two little people. They throw a ball of string down, then slide down along the rope. He presses a black button. Another door opens beside him. Inside, it's filled with wires, sparks flying. The little people start repairing the damaged foot. Turns out, the man is not human. He's a humanoid spaceship. At this moment, a little boy approaches the window. He sees the man through the window. He calls his mother over. Coincidentally, it's his mother who hit the man. She is very concerned about the man, asks if he is injured, but finds out the man's foot is already healed.
The man tries to respond in human language, accidentally shattering a glass bottle behind him.
The little people completed the repair work, climbed into the man's ear afterward. The woman invited him to her home and prepared breakfast for him. He picked up an egg, accidentally crushed the egg. So, he decided to pour all the eggs into a bowl, mixed the egg and the shells together. The woman handed him a bottle of ketchup. He casually gulped down the entire bottle. The woman was very heartbroken over her newly bought ketchup. A cat walked to his feet. In his eyes, it was a fierce lion. He heartlessly kicked the cat away. At this moment, a photo caught the little people's attention. A child's hand holding a spherical object. Finding this object was their purpose of coming to Earth. The man scanned the information in the photo. With a clue in hand, he began searching for the little boy. He arrived on the street. A couple was passionately kissing. Caught his attention. He approached them, learning the art of kissing, and even took a photo for them. He passed by the park. Due to his peculiar attire, a group of children mistook him for an ice cream man. So, he decided to go change his clothes. He scanned the banknotes and coins with his hand. In the changing room, he took off his pants. Banknotes fell from him. He revealed a pained expression. Coins also dropped. He went to the school to find the boy, asked the boy to return the spherical object to him, but the object was taken by another student. So, the boy took him to find that student. They arrived at a store, encountered two thugs. They intended to rob the place. The thugs threw punches at him, but he caught them easily. He effortlessly tossed the thugs behind him. Another thug pointed a gun at him. Just with a casual squeeze, the gun barrel was flattened. The terrified thugs ran away. Unable to find that student, the boy brought him back home again. After dinner, the woman wanted him to help clean the table. Perhaps not full. He swept everything on the table to the ground. The woman was very helpless. They went to the amusement park, participated in a hot dog eating contest. He opened his mouth, stuffed the hot dogs into his mouth. Then, at a very fast pace, he stuffed all the hot dogs into his mouth, easily winning the championship. Shadows of monsters appear on the roof. Tommy and Jack turn around to see. Surprisingly, they are aliens. The aliens politely greet them. At this moment, the alien leader rushes over. He advises the kids not to call the police and claims they mean no harm. But in the next second, he issues an attack command. Ricky suddenly climbs in through the window, accidentally hitting Ricky. The leader takes out a remote control. After testing, he controls Ricky's body. The leader wants to capture Tommy and Jack and make them slaves. Ricky charges towards them, but they dodge him. He falls from upstairs. Aliens attack him, but he blocks them with a wooden board. He throws the board at the aliens and hits them. Seizing this opportunity, they escape back into the house. They hurriedly return to their room, trying to make a call, but they find no signal. Fortunately, the landline still works. They dial the emergency number, but the sheriff doesn't believe them, thinking it's just a prank. Before they can explain, the phone line is cut. At this moment, they hear a sound outside the window. Opening it, they find Ricky. He is hanging outside the window. The alien remote control malfunctions, but the microphone is still working. The kids overhear their conversation. Turns out, the alien control device has no effect on children. To prevent their adult family members from danger, they decide to confront the aliens on their own. And Hannah is already in front of the parents. She tells the parents about the aliens, but the parents don't believe her. Helpless, Hannah joins the resistance team. Aliens drop something, like a hand grenade. It doesn't explode, but they suddenly lose gravity, floating in the air. At this moment, aliens come down from the roof, wearing gravity boots. Tommy picks up a weapon to attack them, but it shoots out a potato. Jack sees a fire extinguisher on the wall. He grabs the extinguisher, spraying it at the aliens. Tommy seizes the opportunity to pick up the gravity ball. He throws the gravity ball at Jack. Jack, holding the extinguisher, smashes the gravity ball. After returning to normal, they counterattack against the aliens. The aliens can't withstand their attack. Being in a miserable state, they quickly climb back onto the roof, but they are shot in the buttocks with toy guns. The aliens change their strategy. They invade through the ventilation ducts, but the kids spot them. They turn on the heater, sweating profusely. The aliens retreat. At this moment, Tommy's father notices the heater is on. He tells the kids not to turn on the heater because it's summer vacation now. They take out a remote remote-controlled toy car. Attach a camera to the toy car. Then control the toy car to search for aliens. Aliens catch the toy car and throw it out. Jack lights a firecracker, throws it into the ventilation duct. Alien screams come from inside. They frantically flee inside. Sparks is at the back of the group. She falls down from the duct, lands in Hannah's room. They both scare each other. Sparks gets entangled by the toy. Hannah laughs at her struggling. She helps Sparks remove the toy and puts a band-aid on her wound. Sparks is a girl. She loves peace and has no interest in fighting. She becomes friends with the kids and joins their team, helping them resist the alien invasion.
A highly contagious virus has erupted in the world. In order to seek refuge, they are searching for a safe place. Cars blocking the road force them to stop. A man approaches them, seeking some gasoline. They cautiously keep the man at a distance, unwilling to share fuel during these resource-scarce times. At that moment, they discover a little girl in the car who is already infected with the virus. They immediately drive away from the scene, but their car breaks down after a short distance. They are forced to stop, realizing the vehicle cannot be repaired. They then realize they can use the man's car. He just doesn't have any gasoline. With a can of gasoline in hand, they approach the man's car. The man only wants to take his daughter to the emergency center, established in the outskirts of the city. They reach a consensus to travel together to the outskirts. The man and his daughter are isolated at the back of the car, and conflicts arise during the journey. The car stops on the road, and the woman gets out, noticing another car parked on the side, perhaps a source of gasoline. Carrying a gas can, they approach the vehicle, but find the fuel cap locked. Upon opening the car door, an arm falls out, revealing a corpse inside. The man needs to get the keys here. As he bends down to retrieve the keys, the corpse makes a sound, startling him. He quickly closes the door, trapping the zombie inside. After obtaining the gasoline, they leave that area and arrive in the outskirts. As they prepare to enter the school, Barbie stays in the car with the little girl, and they begin searching inside the school. The public phone catches Kate's attention. She tries to make a call, and a child runs past them. They follow the child to the emergency center, where it appears there is indeed an antiviral serum. Learning that the chief doctor has already died, and the serum can only delay the onset of the disease without curing it, they leave in disappointment. Barbie is chatting with the girl in the car when the girl suddenly has difficulty breathing. In an emergency, she wants to connect an oxygen mask to the girl, who starts coughing up blood, possibly becoming infected. Her companions come out of the school, and Barbie conceals what just happened. Frank sees the girl lying down and asks Barbie what happened. Barbie only mentions the possibility of breathing difficulties. At that moment, the little girl says she needs to use the restroom. Fearful of being abandoned, Frank lets his daughter go to the nearby restroom alone. The girl collapses after a few steps. Helpless, Frank has to take his daughter to the restroom, knowing they will likely be left behind. Brian abandons their luggage and convinces his reluctant brother to leave the father and daughter behind. They leave the area, leaving the father and daughter behind. After stopping by the roadside, they begin disinfecting the car. Barbie, taking advantage of the lack of attention, throws her blood-stained jacket on the ground and then kicks it under the car. After a while, they also discover that Barbie has been infected. They arrive at a place not far from the small town. Brian, with a heartless demeanor, forces Barbie out of the car. Barbie doesn't heed Brian's advice, failing to maintain a safe distance from the little girl. Despite Barbie deceiving them, he leaves her with food and water. Denny and Kate coldly watch from the car.
The clown was displaying an advertisement on the street. Thugs pass by him. They slap the billboard to the ground and take away the billboard. Arthur can't lose the billboard. He chases the thugs to the alley. The thugs wait for him to get closer. As he approaches them, knocked him to the ground with the billboard, and then rounded him up. He lay helpless on the ground. Back in the storage room, Randall learns of his beating. He hands him a package. Arthur opens it. It's a gun. He knows he can't carry a gun. Randall tells him to protect himself. No one would know, so he took the gun. That's when Gary told him to go to the office. Gary was the only one who was nice to him. Randall laughed at Gary at this point, but Arthur let out a big uncontrollable laugh. He arrived at the office. Because the billboard was not returned to the merchant, he got a complaint. If the billboard could not be returned, will be deducted from his paycheck. He helped kept a smile on his face, then came to the garbage can to vent his feelings. In the hospital, clowns are performing, bringing laughter to the children. Suddenly, a gun fell from his body. He rushes to pick up the unexpected object. The joyous atmosphere is broken. After the show, he contacted his employer. A serious incident led to his dismissal. The hardships of life gradually ran him down. In the subway, 3 men were hitting on a lady. He didn't want any trouble, just stood there and watched. At that moment, he let out an uncontrollable laugh. They thought he was laughing at them. The women took advantage of the situation to get out of there. They went over to Arthur and beat him up. In the heat of the moment, he took out his gun. The man fled in a hurry, but he didn't want to let the man go. He followed the man closely. With the end of the gunshot, all 3 men meet their end at his gun. He fled the scene in a hurry and hid in a public place. His psyche had changed. Arthur grabbed the file from the administrator. It was his mother's medical records. He found some truth in the file, that his mother was hiding something from him. It made him feel extremely angry and bitter. He went to his mother in her hospital bed, picked up the pillow. Arthur's mother had died. Gary and Randall came to comfort him. Arthur said he was celebrating. In reality, Randall was going to conspire with him because the subway murders. The police were investigating them. Randall was afraid the gun would be exposed and told Arthur not to give him up. Arthur took the dagger out of his pocket. He's sitting on the ground, panting heavily. Gary looks at Arthur in horror. Arthur tells him to get out of here. It won't hurt him. He heads for the door. As he passed by Arthur, Arthur scared him. He ran for the door, but couldn't open the lock. Asked Arthur to open the door for him. Arthur smiled helplessly and opened the door for Gary.